What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be doing something that I probably have no business in trying, and that's painting. I am not the greatest painter in the world. I've attempted it a few times in the past. It's never been really good. Full disclosure, this is not a DIY. I am not a professional. Don't take any advice from me. This is merely for entertainment. This is just to see if I can actually get this done because I'm pretty confident with everything else car related. I've done quite a bit of stuff in cars, but bodywork is something I've always struggled with. And so I figured, what's the worst that can possibly happen? Look at how terrible this trunk lid looks anyways. Like, it's in really bad shape. I had to remove the old CB antenna, so I have to figure out how to plug that. But like, it's in really bad shape, right? So like, some of the paint is still here, but most of the clear coat is pretty much gone. I can't make it look any worse than what it already is. If I'm successful with this, then I'm gonna be able to paint the Evos. I have a couple panels on each car that I need to work on. And so this is essentially my guinea pig. But like, if this works out, I'm gonna be really happy, man. Because if I can get this one done, then I can get the hood done, and then I can essentially polish the rest of the car and make it look a lot better than what it looks like now. Like, I plan on bringing all the shine back to this car. So I went ahead and removed the trunk lid from the car because one, I didn't want to mask off the whole car to maybe potentially get paint like on the top or anything like that. And two, it's actually going to be raining, so I had to put a tarp on it. And I'd rather just be in the garage, be comfortable. And like, if I get a little bit of overspray and random things in here, it's not a big deal. I wanted to be comfortable. I wanted a place to be able to do this. So I think this is the best chance for me to be successful in this. All right, let's start here on the left. I bought some 2K clear coat. Hopefully 1 can is enough for the trunk lid. I believe it should be. So this stuff is really dangerous, really toxic for your lungs. Make sure you get a respirator. Got one right there. Because that stuff has hardener built in and it'll never come out of your lungs. Like, it's just not good for you. So make sure you get a respirator when you use clear coat. I also went ahead and got some Perfect Match. This is GM green. They call it emerald green. This is dark polo green metallic. But again, what's the worst that could happen? Like, it's gonna look better, but it might match. We'll see. Like, I don't know. Again, I'm not too worried about it, but you know, this is really easy stuff to pick up at pretty much any auto parts store. So I had to go to 2 different ones. I went to AutoZone and Advance and they both had one. So I also bought 2 cans of primer because I noticed some spots on the top here was down to like almost bare metal. Yeah, right there. So I don't know if that will be covered. I might just hit it in a couple spots, but I also don't know how it's gonna do when I sand it. How close am I gonna get to the actual bare metal? So I bought primer because I was not sure how much I would need or how little I'll need, but I'm always gonna be able to use this stuff anyways. So this stuff should work well because that hole right there also has some corrosion and hopefully I can fill it in a little bit. And the plan is actually to just cover that with like, you know, a rubber grommet or something that I can pick up at like an Ace. Because I'm not going to try to like, I'm not a welder. I'm not going to try to do that. I also bought sanding discs. I can use these by hand, but I also will be using my Ryobi buffer, especially in a large area like this. I'll be using that wet with this sandpaper. So it starts at 60 and it goes all the way to 2000. So I pretty much have all the bases covered. It's aluminum oxide, I think. And I heard that that's the best type of sandpaper for, you know, doing car projects and stuff with paint. You know, I bought this whole box for really cheap on Amazon. There's a ton of these things on here. Yeah, that's it. That's all my tools. Let's just get started, man. Let's just jump right into it. I'm gonna go ahead and wet sand this whole thing and see how it looks and go from there. Oh my goodness, here we go. So I just finished sanding this with 400 grit. I'm gonna go ahead and run over it with 600. I am, however, going to have to do this part with the orbital because the paint is pretty much down to bare metal, but it's also like there's all sorts of like little like grooves and stuff like that. And I think I'm going to have to go really into bare metal about 1 inch or 2 outside of this hole. And so unfortunately, I have to do that by hand because what I'm doing right now is just not working. So I wouldn't recommend the orbital on anything else on here. but I'm gonna have to use it on this because the orbital can get you down to bare metal. And of course, I realize I got down to bare metal on a couple spots anyways. Could be because the paint is so thin because it's old, but it could also be that it's 400 grit. I'm not sure, but for the most part, it's not too bad, right? So like, I think I did a decent job with it. I'm gonna go ahead and knock this out with 400 grit, and then I'm gonna hit the whole thing with 600. Let's see how much I can get with the 400. Perfect. Oh, that feels great. So the primer is the white. That's nice. That's good to know. There's a couple, no, actually, I think there's 4 layers. So there's the metal, there's the primer, and then there's a white, and then the green. I wonder why they did that. I'm not a paint expert, so if you know anything about paint, let me know why they did that. Is that to bring out the brilliance of the metallic? Because this is called dark polo green metallic. And I'm wondering if that white layer is just to bring out that extra, you know, the extra shine originally from the factory. That's kind of cool. I was not happy with the result after the 600 grit. And so I snagged a 1000 grit and I put it on the orbital, and it's significantly better. There's a bunch of areas like right on the edges that is just like, it's kind of rough, but. So the 400 grit did most of the work. There's a little spot right here. 600 kind of smoothed it out, and then 1000 dry is like finalizing, and I'm happy with it. But I'm very happy so far. Like, this is so smooth, man, compared to what it was. Like, okay. I'm feeling hopeful about this. This might actually work. Coat number 2. I think that is all I'm gonna actually need is 2 coats. All right, so it has been an hour and everything is dry. It looks good. I actually don't even have to wait that long, come to find out, to be able to put a top coat on. I'm not gonna sand. It actually looks smooth enough for me. I'm gonna go ahead and start hitting it with the top coat. So the green. Okay, so I just learned something pretty valuable, and I pretty much wasted an entire can. And that is, you have to paint it this way. It sputtered like crazy because I was painting it at an angle. I tried like this, nothing came out. Makes sense because all the air from the bottom of the can is trying to go up. So yeah, I messed up. Like I said, I am not a pro by any means, but hopefully there's a little bit left in this can, and then hopefully the next one will cover the rest of it, because it's like, there's a lot of area to cover. The good news is that the little spots are blending really well, that I was able to get like a really nice clean like pass through, like right here. It matches pretty good, man. But yeah, I wasted a can putting it on, man. So this is starting to look really, really good. So far, it's taken me probably about 4 coats to get to this point. This is actually my 3rd can. I probably would have needed a 3rd can anyways, because the first can, I kind of messed up, and so I did it at the wrong angle. This is covering a lot better when it's flat with a surface like this. So I went out and I bought 2 more cans just in case, because there are some spots that are a little light still, but I think this is the last coat. I think 3 cans is definitely enough. I have a 4th can because I have other stuff I have to paint anyways. And hopefully you guys can hear me because it stinks in here right now. Okay, that was it. That was the last coat. I went through 4 cans, and the spots where I put primer, it definitely can still be shown even after like 3 or 4 coats. So I went ahead and just used the entire 4th can, and I can't tell anymore. So hopefully I got it. Looks like there might be a light spot. I don't remember if I even put primer there. It could just be me like freaking out. I think I kind of see it here, but maybe it's a reflection from the floor. It's done. It's completely covered. There are a couple little things here and there. There were some runs because the second can, the trigger was getting stuck, which is really frustrating, but overall I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm gonna let it dry for about 10-20 minutes or so, and then we're gonna hit it with the clear. So I'm pretty sure that the clear is going to be, you know, a really light coat and then a really heavy coat like I've been doing. And if I'm not mistaken, after like 3 coats, like it's the more coats, the glossier it gets. And that's what I'm really excited about. So this looks a million times better, guys, than like it did earlier in the video. I'm losing daylight already, so I had to crank up the ISO in the camera, but I'm happy that this is getting done because so far so good. Is it perfect? Am I gonna paint an entire car like this? Nah, man, definitely not. All right, 10 minutes. Next coat goes on a little bit thicker. Okay, I still have my mask on. I apologize. I just did the 3rd and final coat. It's really shiny, but it's also really runny, so I'm gonna let it cure overnight. Okay, so it is the next day. About 18 to 20 hours have passed, and there it is. I put it back on the car so I wouldn't bore you guys, but as you guys can tell, it needs a wet sand pretty bad. It's still kind of splotchy. It doesn't match very well, unfortunately. There's a little more hint of blue on it, but dude, it looks so much better. Like, Jesus, man. So what the plan is right now, and the sun wasn't supposed to be out, but the plan is that I'm gonna wet sand all of this, and I'm gonna wet sand a little bit of this as well. There's a couple spots here, and I'm gonna buff this whole rear quarter as well as the trunk lid, and just to see how close I can get. If I can get them both shiny, then I'm good, because that one's obviously shiny, you can tell already, but they both need a lot of love. The whole car needs love in general, but I want to try to get the shininess to blend between both of them. And if I can do that with this panel, then I can do it with the rest of the car, and it's just going to look a lot better. Confession time. Since that last clip, oh my God. Since that last clip, it's actually been about a month because I didn't have enough time to actually finish the project. It's a very, very time-consuming project. I'm learning this as I do this, and I'm definitely going to pay somebody in the future, but I'm already kind of knee-deep in it. I actually recorded the very next day after it cured, and it didn't actually really cure, right? It said it takes about 24 hours or so. It wasn't enough. It was actually still really soft. I hit it with like 2000 grit. I wasn't happy with the finish, and so I ended up going on a trip, and then it got really freaking hot, man. Like, you can tell right now, I'm sweating, I've barely done anything. I actually went ahead and started the process of sanding. Because it's officially fully cured, because of course it's been a month, I can do a dry sand with it, and I'm trying to figure out the right grit right now. But if you notice, these are the kind of like little ridges that I'm actually trying to get rid of just to make it as smooth as possible. And you can tell like there's a lot of orange peel on this. Like I probably put too much finish over it, but luckily I can sand it all the way down. So right now I hit it with 800 grit, and I'm trying to get it to like this here. Not this, see it? All these little like ridges and stuff. I need to sand all of this down to get it as smooth as possible. Very similar to like this right here. All right, so I've got most of the ridges out with 800 grit, but I'm also worried that I might be also getting too far. So I have to keep checking to make sure that I'm not going in too deep, but that almost looks like paint there. So I have to be really careful with what I'm doing right now. So that's why I'm not doing the whole panel. I'm just doing this side to make sure I do this right. This might be a fail video, who knows? And I'm also sweating all over this damn thing. The rest of all of this is gonna be wet sanded, because I know wet sanding will do a much better job. This is getting all the ridges out, right? Dry sanding. The wet sand is just gonna make it a lot smoother. So let's go ahead and wet sand it with 1200 grit. Little soapy water action here. Try to make this a little bit smoother. Now that I got it down, 800 grit. Now I know where the paint's coming from. It's actually from the side, not from the top. So, okay, that's good. Let's go ahead and try 1500 grit and see how it goes. All right, I just realized that my camera did not catch most of that, but too late. I already did all the work, but I just finished hitting it with 2000 grit. So I went ahead and jumped to 1200 and then 1500 and then 2000 grit. I am very unprepared. I don't know why I do YouTube videos, but it feels extremely smooth after going from 800 to 1000 to 1200, 15, and then 2000 grit. Like it feels, but this feels ridiculously smooth. Like it's just gliding along now at this point with the 2000 grit. Like it's buttery smooth right now. That actually came out a lot better than I was expecting it to. Let me try to get a little bit closer so you guys can kind of see. But if you see right here, right? So that's what it kind of looked like. And I completely got rid of the orange peel on this side. See it? Like it's completely smooth. So that's a little ding. I can't do anything about that. And then right up here, you can kind of see a little bit right there because the trunk lid actually curves up a little bit. It's a really hard area to get. That's all the stuff on the trunk lid that I was battling with. So 800 grit did a really good job of getting all the thicker stuff off. And then wet sanding in steps all the way to 2000 did an incredible job. So I'm really excited to see what the buffing compound, or the cutting compound I should say, really excited to see what the cutting compound is about to do. So I will be using Meguiar's Ultimate Compound. I like Meguiar's products. I've been using their stuff for probably about 20 years now. I'm just a fan. Their stuff just works really well. And I'm also using the correction pad on my Ryobi. I will be starting really low on the RPMs and making my way up. Wow, I can tell a massive difference already. Yep, that looks pretty good. Little corner up there is really tough. I gotta make sure I get that right. All right, I'm gonna hit it with the finishing pad and my Meguiar's wax. I use the cleaner wax. I really like this stuff. This stuff is, been using it for freaking ever. I use it in all my cars. All right, I think the footage cut off when I was in the middle of doing the work, but you can tell right there. So this is me after wet sanding. There it is me right there before. And you can tell, right, just on the reflection, how smooth it is compared to that one. There's a lot of orange peel still on that side versus this side. Yeah, it still needs some work, right? It's smooth as heck, man. Don't mind the little ding right there. There's nothing I can do about that. But like, it feels incredibly smooth. But there are a lot of surface scratches still. And so I think it just needs some correction still. And I'm just not a pro, man. Like, I don't know if it needs to be wet sanded again. Like, but I mean, compared to that side, like, it's incredible. Like, the difference is just, it's astronomical. It definitely needs a lot more love. And so I'm actually gonna finish this off camera because I'm not gonna bore you guys. I just wanted to see what kind of results I can get by myself with wet sanding, with dry sanding and wet sanding. And I think wet sanding does better. I think dry sanding left a lot of scratches. I'm gonna go ahead and hit it back with some wet sand, the entire thing again, but I'm gonna do 800 grit wet sand instead of dry sand like I did on this side. And I think that should be a much better result than what I got here. But like, dude, I mean, this is just like it's just, it's so smooth. Guys, like I said, this is strictly entertainment. This is just me trying to learn body work. And God, there's a lot of scratches still. It needs a lot of love. It needs a lot of love. But should you do this yourself? That's up to you. Do you have the patience? Do you have the time, the energy? I don't. I just wanted it to look somewhat decent before I probably put this car up for sale because it's just another project that I don't want to deal with. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. You probably didn't learn anything. Go somewhere else to learn. This is just for entertainment only because I have no idea what I'm doing. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.